Welcome to another episode of the No Promises Podcast with your hosts, Sean Stepp.
Can you hear my hair growing?
And Jeff Gregory.
Heinrich, run away!
Two fiction fanatics talking about games, movies, and comics, and whatever else pops into the conversation. On with the show. And here is episode 6 of the No Promises Podcast. My name is Jeff, and I'm Sean. And we have a special guest today, who is Brandon.
Yeah. The Walmart bitch.
Yeah. Walmart bitch. And, we all saw... Way to introduce yourself, man. Whatever. We're going to let it go for a second before we do it.
Before it goes any further.
True. Alright, so we all saw Spiderman Homecoming today, and that movie was awesome. Yeah, I thought it was really good. And he put the shrug up. He doesn't know.
I'm not really one for superhero movies, but they're portraying them a little bit better now, so it's kind of getting more into it. So I'm starting to like them a little bit better.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I feel with this one, I don't know. I liked the old Spider-Man, and I didn't really watch too many of the Amazing Spider-Man. I've seen clips of the two or whatever. Yeah. Right, there's two of them, right? Yes, there's two. But this one seemed really more like Spider-Man as I know him when I was reading comic books when I was younger. Right. More of like the goofy superhero that wasn't really meant to be a superhero. He was really a dude that just got bit by a spider and now has powers. And that's how he kind of was portrayed in this, and I thought it was really cool. Yeah, and they didn't have to do an origin story. That was cool. So, no one needs to see him get bit again. We didn't have to see Uncle Ben die for a third time. Right, it's a pain in the ass. No one cares. We've all seen it. Yeah, it was all implied. It was like, okay, you know he's been bit by a spider. You know Aunt May is widowed. You know what I mean? You know this stuff happens. Let's get to something that can entertain you. Right. And they kept it pretty entertaining while still keeping his normal life annoying for him, and the having to live the split life of a hero and a kid in high school, because, you know, Tobey Maguire, when he was in Spider-Man, technically he was in high school, but he was like 30. Yeah. Well, he was 26, I think, when he started playing Spider-Man in the original movie trilogy. Mm. And Andrew Garfield was around the same age too, so like they didn't Tom look like Holland, kids really. It was kind of like the I don't know, like the 90210 of kids. Like, oh, this 30-year-old kids.
But that's something that I like more now that they're going by the comic books, because if you go into it based just from he's going from high school into this job to being Spider-Man, it's more relatable to the comic books. Yeah. And that's something that got it away from me in superhero movies. They jump from one thing to another instead of leading more into like a realistic type of way. You'd rather see real world problems than say just like, oh, I have to go save the world. Instead, in this one, he's like, oh, well, I have to stop these dudes from putting guns on the street. Yeah, he's thinking more logically for everything in the area. Like they talk about him being in his area. He's trying to stay in the area to make it safe for that. Yeah, he's the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, and not like Spider-Man, hero of the world. Yeah,
and there's always, even especially in comics, always been like a hierarchy of heroes. Like there are the heroes that defend the world, and then there's the heroes that defend Brooklyn and stuff. You know what I mean? Like and then there's people that they do like they'll do like, oh, well, I protect these 4 blocks within my city. There's other people, but that's their jurisdiction, so I'm not going to go over there. Right.
But I also liked how comfortable he was being in just the one area. He was more open-minded to the area he was in instead of trying to go to 10 different places throughout the movie. Yeah, it was more focused on a one area.
He did go to D.C. though. He went to DC, but it explained it with a trip. Yeah, it was a field trip that he was physically taking advantage of.
But it wasn't like something he would have just been like, I'm going to go to Washington just so I can try to find some bad guys and kick the living shit out of them.
Yeah, he was definitely like localized. It made more sense for his actions. Like everything in the movie made more sense. Right. Like how the villain has his super suit,
and everything, and like,
why he's a villain in the first place.
Yeah,
was way more humanized than any Spider-Man or really hero movie that I've seen too much.
The closest we had previous in Spider-Man, at least, was Dr. Octopus. Like, he had a reason, and he had the science to do what he did. Right. But like, it still was kind of a stretch for why it happened.
Yeah.
But during that movie, they also focused a lot on Dr. Octopus itself. In this one, it was about Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Going through everything he was going through with the villain instead of this part's about Spider-Man.
It was more of like
movie,
a partnership.
This part's
within
about
the
this
movie.
person, then they clash at the end. It was so evened out. It made it a good superhero movie.
Yeah, it did. It like kept everything well-rounded between the characters, opposed to, like you were saying, basically splitting the movie in half. Like, this is what's happening here, this is what's happening here. Now the villain's doing this, now hero comes, and this is what happens.
It's more so like, well, this affects this, and then this affects this, and this is why he did this, because he did this.
Yeah.
So it was more reactionary and less like, oh, well, I'm going to do something to piss him off because
it wasn't bouncing around too a lot. It was consistent the way that it led into it, and that's a lot coming from me because I am totally against superhero movies just because I don't want to go in the first 5 minutes and see this is a bad guy, we're going to stop him.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's more predictable, and I hate that about superhero movies, but this one actually wasn't. Like, it had a couple of twists and turns that you wouldn't see, and I actually liked that, and it made it a better experience. And if they keep going the way that they're going with the movies now, with all the making the ones off the comic books and everything, it's going to broaden my perspective on all the superhero movies.
Yeah.
I really did love Michael Keaton as the Vulture. Like, not because, like, I'm saying, like, oh, like, I love that character of the Vulture. No, fuck the Vulture.
I just like, if you've heard our previous episode, I don't care for the Vulture very much at all as a villain.
Yeah, but, like, Michael Keaton as the Vulture is awesome.
Yeah.
Because he made that villain, I guess, like, worth seeing.
Yeah, he, like, owned the villain and didn't make him more than he was supposed to. He was just a hard-working man that needed to make money and became a villain, basically.
Yeah. And, like, he wasn't very villainous.
No.
Like, he had times where, like, he was scary.
He was menacing, kind of. But, he wasn't... It was more like he's trying to do his thing, and this is what he knows how to do. I mean, he was a scrapper.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He was a scrapper for New York, and I guess it picks up right after Civil War.
Yeah, basically, right
when
after.
When they're rebuilding the city and everything and cleaning everything up.
Yeah, and they got some, like, aliens still laying there, I guess. I don't...
Yeah, it's from the... Well, that's from... well, yeah, because they had the 8-year gap, and then 2 months later. So, like, the 8-year gap was... between the first Avengers movie
it was the first Avengers movie,
the last Avengers movie.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry, the Civil War movie.
Yeah.
That seems like the Avengers movie. It just had Captain America stamped on it.
Right,
but yeah, like it had that 8-year jump, and then it had a 2-month jump to what's happening now, which is basically the aftermath of Civil War. And they don't really touch on like how the team is affected at all for like the Avengers. Really, we just see Tony Stark, and he talks about...
They talk about it moving, the headquarters moving, and a couple of pieces from each hero they talk about.
Yeah, but nothing's really addressed about those heroes and their whereabouts, or
like you never see them.
We see Captain America, but we see him in PSAs.
Yeah,
for the high school.
and that's hilarious.
Those are really good.
I love how he's like, I'm pretty sure this guy is... what does he say? I'm pretty sure this guy is a national villain now or something like that.
He said, like, yeah, pretty sure Captain America's like a war
criminal now, yeah.
But whatever, let's do
stretches. Just do stretches, it's hilarious. I'm pretty sure he's a war criminal now, but...
That was a good line.
There was a couple of good lines in there. I thought it had some funny moments. It shows, Spider-Man learning his trade kind of a little bit, because there's a couple times where they address there isn't always a place to shoot your web. He runs out in the middle of the field and it's just like, and he's like, oh crap, it just takes off running.
The video takes off like you just shot a grappling hook into a field and it's just fucking billowing rope.
Yeah, and he's just like, oh, it takes off running. So they address that, and they
the train car when he's going through the main part of the city.
Yeah, he's going
sitting on top.
Yeah, he's just sitting
along.
on the train car, looking at his cell phone, riding.
He's
along.
in Queens. The tallest building's only 3 stories tall. So
Yeah,
like,
so
he can't really
shoot around.
or fling off anything.
Yeah,
so
where,
like
other Spider-Man, I didn't concentrate on that too much. It's
well,
just
yeah,
like empty air or wherever he goes.
we'll just put him in Manhattan. That's just where he roams.
The 5-story light posts that were all throughout the building.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, and that one time when he shoots, and you always think about it, he shoots and the web bows a lot, so it looks like he's just going to hit the ground. The one time he hit that top of that building,
he's like, I'm okay.
But the funny thing with that was, like, he didn't bounce off.
Yeah,
he hit it and just
slid
right
to
across
top,
the
like
top
someone
of the
wrecking
building.
on a skateboard, just done. Yeah, the gravel burned a little bit, I'm sure. Just like, ugh. Yeah. But yeah, I feel like they made him like a teenage kid that got powers.
This almost feels like they took the template for like the Netflix series, and then they just put Spider-Man in it, but they gave it like more effects.
Yeah,
which is good. Like it had good like all the characters like talk to each other realistically.
Yeah.
Like almost too much. Like there's a lot of awkward moments in the movie that like it feels like a joke, but like it almost feels like that joke was set up to fail from the get-go.
Right,
Like you said that,
yeah,
all right.
to make it feel, almost to make it feel like more real.
Yeah,
because
very real.
Shit crashes. You know what I mean? A lot of times when you try to be funny, and everyone knows it.
How'd you feel about his friends finding out that he was like Spider-Man so quick into the movie? Like we were maybe 15 minutes in. And
I thought that was pretty crazy. But part of me in my mind makes me think about in the 80s there was this fat fanboy that was obsessed with Spider-Man, and he wore that Spider-Man mask like that, like he did when he sat up when they were tracing the dude.
Yeah.
And he wore the Spider-Man mask, and he was like fanboy or something. I can't remember what he was. But he was obsessed with Spider-Man, and that just clicked into my head, and I was like, is that like a play on that, or is he just a fat friend that found out? But I thought it was pretty great that he had like they were supposed to do that Death Star together, and he had it together.
That's what I was going to get into, because when they were talking about, when he said he got the Death Star that he wanted to put together, he said, I'll be over later.
Right.
And then, I pay attention a lot to the clues
minor
and everything,
dialogue.
the minor dialogues in movies. It's how it's a big problem with the superhero, that I just pick up on it too quick. But as soon as he said that, I was like, he's gonna go through the window or something, and he's just gonna be sitting on the bed like, oh my god.
Something as simple as him going through that window. They addressed Spider-Man in a really cool way that you haven't seen that much very more. Like the way he came up to the window and slid it down with his sticky, climbed in, and then reached his foot back, got the window, and slid it up. That's how Spider-Man would roll, and a lot of people haven't paid that much attention.
So, like, you're saying
he's really
the physicality of Spider-Man.
The way he was jumping around from building to building, and even, like, on the boat, how he was flipping from window to window, that's how, in the comic books, he was portrayed more, instead of doing stupid, like, showy flips for fun, he was, like...
less of an acrobat, more of a... like an actual spider.
He would creep around, and that's how they really portrayed him. He would go into the shadows and stuff when he was creeping around. It was really cool.
But that's something that I also feel like that they put into the movie because he is a younger superhero.
He's more agile.
But if you actually look at it, when you go into a movie with somebody that young, teenagers are reckless.
Right.
We've all been there, but they add it to where he's the teenager that's just reckless enough, but he's also cautious at the same time. So it kind of evens it out to trying to portray what a normal New York kid would be going through.
Right. Yeah. I didn't even think about it that much. They did portray him as reckless at times because he was a kid, you know what I mean?
You remember when he climbed up the Washington Monument? And he's almost at the top, and he's like, whoa.
Yeah, I've never been this high.
This is a little high.
It's funny hearing Spider-Man be like, whoa, this is a little high for me.
But little details like that, especially how we were just saying, like in New York, like if you took a Spider-Man from Delaware,
that'd be the worst Spider-Man.
It would be horrible. It would be horrible. But like they're
trying. Like, well, I take Uber most places.
But like if you look when he's in school, his actions outside of school. it's things that a normal New York kid would do. Like, they take the train and everything to school. He wasn't drove to school every day in some fancy car. He drove to a party with his aunt the one time, but like it was
like
just stuff that would happen in New York, and it was such a relatable thing, and that's what made it better.
He didn't even like borrow the car from Aunt May for the prom. Like she dropped him off.
Which they made Aunt May a hot chick now, which is I forget the actress's name. Yeah, which I mean it was funny because they referenced that like 3 times in the movie. The fact that it's not.
They kept putting the granny glasses on her.
That's funny. But like, I guess they made it more realistic. Obviously, if it's a high school kid, Aunt May isn't going to be this old ass lady like she was in the comic.
She's an actual like mid 30s, maybe early 40s.
Yeah, and I mean, it was funny because like Tony Stark joked about it right off the bat. He's like, "Is Aunt May not wearing anything?" So it's pretty, and actually at first I was like, ugh, because you hadn't seen Aunt May yet.
I was saying, from the other movies, I'm expecting an old lady like a Betty White or something coming out.
It would be great if it was Betty White.
But I mean, it was actually it was relatable. I mean, somebody in that time frame that could actually have been an aunt instead of an old lady that was an aunt.
Right. Which was probably his great aunt, really, and like, you know, it was probably his great aunt in the comic books or something. But, I mean, and like you said, I really like how they're pretty much humanizing mutants now. You know what I mean? They're making it more like not normal, but like it's a person with a power. It's not, you know, unless you're Thor or Superman.
It's not somebody that becomes an avatar, basically.
Yeah. And it was like, it's not like, with a lot of the superhero movies, people aren't born with these things. It's either genetically modified, or with Spider-Man, he was bitten by the spider. But like,
well, then you get the X-Men where they are born with it, and they still got to deal with the shit because it doesn't even show up till they're in their teens. It like shows up in puberty or whatever.
Yeah, but
unless
like
you're
more
weird like Nightcrawler or something. Like Nightcrawler was born, Mystique was born with it.
Yeah, some of them. Anything that
I think in the comic books they try to go back and say Wolverine was born with the bone claws.
Yeah, those happened when he was 12.
Well, like I've seen like a baby Wolverine. Maybe it's a theoretical thing or something. Who knows?
Well, no, because there's also, if you watch the X-Men, and one of them, where he's out at the bar and everything before he gets the adamantium, isn't it?
Yeah.
Before he gets that, you see the bone claws, like it literally looks like there's a bone, a joint, a bone, a joint, a bone.
Yeah, he had bone claws. Actually, like, I don't think ever in the comic books he had bone claws. I think it was the backstory which he had the bone claws. So I don't think they ever addressed it. He's always had adamantium since the beginning of the comic, but
I think that was like, I think they people kind of like poked a little. Like, they poked a few holes in it. It's like, well, if they put adamantium on his bones, that means that his claws would be bones, unless they put the claws in there. But what's the arm mechanism to put them out? So it'd have to be something more biological.
Well, no, because if you look at it, in the movies, when they have him go through, they actually did a graph and everything, and you can't see it right ahead, but if you look in the background, there's actually a monitor and everything that has it that actually shows the muscles.
Yeah.
He's got the extra layer of muscles and tendons along the top
to push it out.
But like I said, I'll sit there and watch a movie once, and I'll pick every little detail out of the background. But a lot of people don't know that, and I mean, that's cool little things that they're adding in slowly, which is going to make them a lot more enjoyable for people like me that don't like them.
Well, it's becoming less of just like a comic book movie that they're just throwing out there for quote unquote nerds to actual movies.
It's more becoming a movie that happens to be based on a comic book, less so than a comic book movie.
That turns into a movie.
Yeah, and I felt like this Spider-Man had just about everything. It had the love interest, it had the villain, it had good story, it had good dialogue. It was a well-rounded, and they showed a lot of villains, like little sneak peeks into some villains.
Yeah, that
they can continue on with to really make this series cool.
Like, besides just having the Vulture in the movie, they have, I'll say a small handful of other villains throughout the movie, but they're seen as like thugs, basically.
They basically work for the Vulture.
Yeah, they work for the Vulture, and that seemed more. that made more sense than them being a big bad, is that they were working for another villain.
Yeah, and in the comics, a lot of times, big villains would have smaller villains working for them, and in the comics, and in movies, probably from the 90s to the mid, to almost to now, they basically talked about them having henchmen. They're not really working with each other too much. It's just basically like the henchman feel. Yeah, and they would only have like one main villain in the movie, or they would have multiple, but they would try to focus on all of them at the same time. I don't like that very much.
Like,
I feel like
Spider-Man 3,
villain.
Spider-Man 3 was the big one to do that, because he had 3 villains at once, and it focused on all of them equally, which was like a little much. Yeah,
it makes you too scattered. It's like, I don't know, you don't give a fuck about any of them after they stretch you that thin. You're like, well, I don't care about any of them.
Yeah, but see, they added the extras in, because, like, also, if you think about it, when the main supervillain from today, the main supervillain, they added these extra ones in. If something happens and they're gone, it kind of makes it to where they can lead into other movies, because they could say, oh, well, this person's gone, but I want to continue going with this, and we can add to see how they get their revenge and everything, instead of just being like, this guy's been bad all along, just hiding in the darkness. No, it's because he's got a reason he's going through and for everything that's going on, or everything that has happened. So, I mean, kind of leading into it makes it a little bit easier.
They showed the Scorpion. Well, they showed Matt Gargan, who is the Scorpion in the Spider-Man series. Do you think they're gonna like go with him for the next one?
I do think something about the attention they paid to him made me think.
He had the scar on his face and everything. Oh, well, Spider-Man did this to me.
Yeah, and he's kind of. I won't say win in the movie, but they show that he's kind of hunting for Spider-Man in particular.
Yeah.
And I feel like the next villain will be the Scorpion.
Okay. I feel they're gonna do it's kind of like a misdirection, kind of like what they did in Civil War. Yeah, Civil War. They made you think that the villain was gonna be Crossbones, and then they killed Crossbones within the first 5 minutes. And then they like slowly introduced the new villain throughout the movie, and you're like, oh, that's the bad guy. I think they may do something like that. Like, I think the next Spider-Man, whatever they end up calling it, the sequel to Homecoming.
Prom Night.
Yeah, Prom Night. But they're gonna have the Scorpion. He'll probably be in the first fight that we see on the screen, but I bet he just goes to jail within the first 10 minutes, and then they're going to have another thing happening.
Yeah.
See, and I think something different, because, like, they had the multiple villains in here. I feel like for the next one, they're going to leave
it like a crew.
They're going to. I feel like they're going to do 2 villains, but with the way that they portrayed them here, they're not going to try to make you focus on both of them at the same time. They're going to even it out. Yeah. So one might be the brains of the operation, and then somebody else is going to
it'd be like a crew of them. Yeah. I think they might do a Sinister Six thing, which is
that'd be cool. Yeah.
It was Shocker.
See, that's who I think it's going to be. It's going to be
Shocker, Scorpion, and it was the Vulture in the original Sinister Six, but I don't know if he'll get out in time.
They might actually lead right into that. I mean, they could go right into that.
It'd be a good way to do it, because we know the 3 villains so far, so you could probably just introduce 3 more real quick. I don't know who you would get. I guess Mysterio, because I'm looking at your T-shirt. Mysterio's on there.
Mysterio,
I doubt they're going to do Green Goblin, because that's a pretty big thing.
Yeah, that wouldn't go very well.
And Dr. Octopus, maybe that the tech that was working on the stuff
that designed the tentacles.
He was kind of Dr. Octopus.
Yeah, he was very much,
because he knew a lot of tech stuff. More so than a salvage dude.
He was like, he's like, I'm a curious person and everything. It makes you seem villainesque and but he's kind of goobery, but who knows?
He could be the man in the chair.
Actually, they could take that with, because anytime you add a tech or anything that's building something for someone else, like the tech from the movie today that was putting together everything once they were salvaging it, that person could just as very well as build a prototype of their own, for Dr. Octopus. He could have something.
He could build the arms. He already built
built the wingsuit,
yeah, and the
shocker
high
arm.
compression thing was a whole like mechanism. You know
Or
what I
he
mean?
could even form into like, if they're trying, I don't know if they are, but any new supervillains, like I thought there was like a Hornet, somebody that had like there was a comic book about a Hornet or something. But he could add wings and stuff and to that book.
As far as new villains, I'm not 100% caught up on comic books right now, so they could probably pop out anyone that I don't even know about.
To be honest, Spider-Man is probably the superhero with the most villains outside of Batman. Interesting ones at least.
Yeah,
interesting villains.
Yeah, Spider-Man was one of the comics that I liked a lot as a kid. Because they always had interesting villains. All his villains had backstories, and all of them...
They were kind of gimmicky.
Yeah. But, like, also, I don't know, it seemed less like the Spider-Man villains were stealing their powers from any other thing, like Marvel DC battle. A lot of times there was back and forth. It seemed like Spider-Man's villains were always like original kind of thing.
But that could be because of the area that they're in. If you think about other superhero movies, how many other bad guys come from other countries to the U.S. as to where like Spider-Man and Batman, like all the villains are from Gotham and Batman. Yeah. All the villains from Spider-Man are all in New York City, and with New York City,
New Yorkers going crazy.
Yeah, and with adding in New York and stuff like that, that broadens a massive amount of people
getting
that
access
like different
to that
types.
alien technology.
Yeah.
Like we saw villains pop up in an 8-year time span.
And Michael Keaton talks about that as the Vulture or whatever. He says we're in a new time, and he was looking at a picture that was drawn by his kid.
Of the
Avengers, and he was like, this is what kids draw pictures of. In my day, it was cowboys and Indians and stuff. And he automatically gets corrected and be like, it's actually Native Americans. But anyways, it shows that, maybe now there needs to be a new type of criminal, basically. There needs to be a new type of criminal to counteract the heroes that we have. You're not just dealing with cops anymore, you're dealing with superheroes.
Yeah, but it wasn't even more or less about the people that were there, like the Avengers and everything. But like we talked about earlier, like he was just trying to provide for his family, but it just so happened to be illegal.
Yeah, he was a normal criminal that had extraordinary ability to acquire salvage from aliens.
Well, if you think about it, he was just fulfilling his contract that he had with the city. And then Stark ruined, he was just holding up his end of the bargain.
He does make a point, and at one point, and I don't want to go into it because it's not really going to ruin anything, but Spider-Man's like, you're a bad guy, you're selling these weapons to bad people. He's like, how do you think Tony Stark got his money? And you're like, oh,
snap. They've been sneaking in these little things, like, this guy took all of my job away. I had all these trucks and everything that I paid for. I'm in this debt. I've got a kid.
I have
But then they talk
choice.
about Tony Stark, but he's like idolized throughout New York City. But
and
he was making millions, if not billions, of dollars cleaning this up. When one person could have just made the money on that one section. But he's more worried about making a gross income for himself.
Yeah. And in the beginning of Iron Man, if I recall, he made his money from selling all of his arms to criminals.
The weapon dealers.
Black market dealing, basically.
Yeah, so I mean, it was a nice little punch to Tony Stark there, showing that not everyone's good. You know what I mean? Not everyone's as good as you think.
The Lord of War thing.
Yeah,
selling to both sides.
Yep.
Yeah.
But see, that's what I want to see more. I want to see a good guy like Iron Man that is just an asshole. Like, he's like, oh, you're Iron Man? Yeah, fuck you. I've been Iron Man the whole time. You're going to stay alive, and I'm going to save the day. That's it. Don't fucking talk to me. Don't do anything else.
I love Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man.
He was a great person.
He's the perfect, pompous, rich douchebag to be Tony Stark. Like, he's perfect in that casting. If anything goes wrong, he's like, well, I meant to do that. It doesn't matter anyways.
Yeah.
And I thought this was a really good movie, and if they continue on like this, I'm happy to see whatever else they come out with. Yeah.
And I'll be more for going and actually seeing superhero movies.
I know it's kind of like 50-50. Like, I was like, it looks good, but like, are they just trying to make it look good? So I was
a lot of times trailers look great in the movie because they showed everything in the trailer. You go see the movie, you're like...
I felt they actually kept a lot of the good scenes in the movie not in the trailer,
which I really like. Dude, I hate when they do that. You're like, well, I've seen these 6 scenes in the trailer.
Yeah.
Or even, I don't know if you guys have seen, I don't have a movie particularly, but like, I've seen movies where I'm like, the scenes in the trailer, they're not even here.
Yeah, they're not even
like,
in the...
where
Yeah,
did
they
this
show all
go?
this cool
Okay,
shit
yeah.
and they've cut it out of the damn
I've
movie.
been waiting for this one scene, that's why I bought the ticket, and then now it's not even here.
Should they do that more though? Like when they have a good line in the trailer, do you really want to hear it again in the movie?
I don't know, because,
but if
like-
it's something cool like that, like if it's like a fight thing, like I noticed it in I think it was like not the last James Bond that happened, but the one before that they did that, showed like a fight scene in the trailer that didn't happen in the movie.
Okay.
And I feel like you're deprived, but maybe you're not deprived of something cool. Maybe something cheesy happened at the end.
Yeah.
And it's like Arnold Schwarzenegger in Commando or whatever when he throws a knife to the dude and he's like, stick around.
But see, speaking of James Bond, I do want to touch on, I just remembered one of the trailers that we saw earlier today. It was for, I can't remember the name of it, but it's like an Ocean's 11 with rednecks.
Oh,
Daniel
yeah.
Craig's
it's
in
got,
it.
Daniel Craig, yeah.
it's
What the
got,
hell was that called?
It's got Channing Tatum in
Channing
it.
Tatum.
Yeah.
Kylo Ren.
Yeah, everyone's hillbillies, man. That shit was, it
Kylo
seemed
Ren
funny.
finally cut his arm off.
But yeah, that was...
Hold on. As far as Kylo Ren, that pissed me off for casting. I
Why?
don't like that guy, period, because Cindy watches Girls or whatever,
Oh.
and he's the worst fucking dude ever. And I've seen him in another movie where I'm like, I just fucking hate this dude. And then they cast him, but he was a good crybaby for Kylo Ren, because Kylo Ren was basically just a big, powerful crybaby.
Yeah.
Logan Lucky.
Logan Lucky's the name of the movie.
Oh, yeah,
But
that seems
Basically, if
funny.
you've seen
When is
Trailer
that
Park
supposed to
Boys,
come out?
Yeah.
and then it just, at this moment, it just says, it says August 18th
This year?
of this year.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's cool.
So in
Something
August.
to do in August. That'll be a fun movie
Now
to
we're
watch.
going to go watch the redneck version of
Redneck
Bangor-
Ocean's 11.
Yeah.
Stealing from NASCAR.
It seemed pretty funny and entertaining.
It's if Trailer Park Boys met Ocean's 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically what it seems like. It seemed pretty cool. Another trailer that I saw that I just thought of that seemed pretty cool was Black Panther.
Black Panther looks pretty good.
I'm on the edge about it
Yeah.
because I feel like they're going to go...
I also feel they're withholding
much-
on that trailer.
Yeah.
They're going to go... I feel like they're going to go too much into the culture and everything. As you see
I
this,
think you're
you
going to
see
go
it-
really Africa and just
Yeah,
not
they
really
go
worry
into
about him
more
being
of
a
the
hero.
tribes and
Yeah.
the ceremony and everything. More of like a delayed and like uprising.
Yeah.
Like I feel like at the end of the movie, they showed the commercials and everything. He's gonna get a suit at the end of the movie. They're gonna go through everything that led
Yeah,
up
and then
to
he
it.
just leads up to, and he
So
does
you
like
think this
one
movie
thing
is a
with the suit.
prequel to Civil War?
Oh yeah, I guess.
Could be.
Yeah,
Or
it
how
could be.
they- or they-
I mean, yeah,
they
it would
could go into
it probably
how-
would be,
They could go
unless
into
it
how they
explains
found him,
why
too.
he would have to leave and go back to Africa for it not to be, because
Yeah.
it seemed like it was 90% placed in Africa, right?
Yeah, I mean you see like
Well,
what looked
from the
like,
trailer, and we just talked about how we don't know what the trailer is compared to the movie because
Yeah.
they do change shit. But from the trailer, it seemed like most of the movie's probably based in South Africa or
Yeah.
North Africa.
'Cause you
He
see a lot of
He said,
rituals.
"You,
It's like
you think
mid-Africa is
Yeah,
where it's
he's
supposed
like,
to be.
you think something is from South America, but truly it was in Africa the whole time, or
Yeah,
something."
because you see a lot of the
Yeah.
rituals.
Well,
and then
they
all
were
that
talking
and
about,
everything.
in that trailer, they said the golden city of El Dorado.
Yeah.
Like, they were saying it was in South America, but it was in Africa the whole
Right.
time. And that dude is Andy Serkis, and he was sitting across from, what's his name?
Ted Nugent. He's like, I don't know, man. I don't like black people.
He was sitting across from the guy that plays Bilbo Baggins. But Andy Serkis voiced
Bilbo
Gollum.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I
like,
know.
I was watching that scene. I'm like, is this
Is
Gollum
talking?
talking to Bilbo Baggins?
That's funny.
But,
I mean, it seems like it could be a good movie if they do it the right way.
like I said, I feel like they're withholding in the trailer.
Yeah.
They're
And-
probably saving a lot of the good moments for the actual movie, which is good.
Yeah.
But I feel like this trailer was kind of not uninteresting, but it didn't do anything flair-wise.
Yeah, I feel like the little interaction that you showed with him fighting, which you've already seen him fighting,
Yeah.
technically. But, I mean, it shows that he's badass fighting against normal people, which you would already know, because...
He's Black Panther.
Jesus Christ, yeah. almost ripped my head.
I feel like it's going to be more of an introduction than
right,
anything
yeah, it's going to be like a
else.
prequel, and it's probably something because you
Probably
know,
have a lot of flashbacks.
Yeah. It's probably something because like you know, Wonder Woman just had her like prequel.
Yeah, that's
movie.
a prequel movie. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was an awesome prequel movie.
And that's one I still haven't seen, but I know you guys have talked about it, but I'm going to go see it at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard mixed feelings from people that aren't comic book fans or anything. I feel like they built Wonder Woman as a cool character, which we've already talked about, so I'm not going to go into it too much. But I feel like if they did the Black Panther in like an origin without making it too cheesy or long, or you know what I mean,
Yeah, make him fight in Vietnam. Let's do that.
It could be pretty cool, but I don't know. I can't think of any other trailers that were in there. That Logan Lucky one.
Pitch Perfect 3, but
Pitch Perfect 3. Yeah,
what
that
about,
made me
really
want to shoot
needed
myself
that,
in the fucking face.
What was the movie?
They basically were like, you need to get jobs.
and the
That's what I
boats?
loved about that.
Dunkirk.
Dunkirk.
Dunkirk,
That
yeah.
looks like it's pretty going to be
That's
pretty
a
good.
World War I movie by Christopher Nolan, the guy that did the Dark Knight trilogy. It looks okay.
Yeah, it's a lot of people getting shot in a boat, which we
feel-
all know. Like,
I feel like that one might be better for like people that are like into historical war and
See,
stuff like
and
that.
that's something for me. That's why I love like the World War I, World War II, all that kind of stuff. So I mean that one kind of got my attention a little bit better.
Me personally, I've always taken like war movies. Like I go for like the ones that everyone talks about. But like when I watch ones that are like, oh, if you like that movie, you gotta see this one. And I watch it, I'm like, nothing happens in the whole movie.
Yeah.
They're like, this is about grief and agony. I'm like, eh.
probably the last like war movie I've watched that was anything like that was probably like Saving Private Ryan or something.
Last one I watched was Hacksaw Ridge, and I hated watching it because I hated I hated the whole ideal of the dude that was in it. Well, not Andrew Garfield, but I do hate him. But
I hate him for separate reasons.
But yeah, but the just the character that he's playing, I understand it's like courageous what he's doing, and like he's a devout, he's a Quaker, like he's a pacifist, and he doesn't like he wants to go to war to save lives, which like everyone's like, are you fucking stupid?
Yeah,
and
okay. Well, yeah.
that's basically the whole movie is like, are you fucking stupid? Everywhere he goes.
That's
and
actually
then,
the
like,
name.
They
were going to name the movie, Are You Fucking Stupid?
And then he gets to the battlefield. He saves 77 people from that basically the whole platoon gave up on. Like all these
77, is that what you said?
77 people. All these injured and shot to shit soldiers.
He
He saved their lives. And like that's the best part of the movie, and it's the last 20 minutes.
But millions died.
But like everything before that, it's like I fucking hate this dude. Like you're stupid. It's frustrating to watch.
But I mean, you can't always make somebody into something. Like I mean, just in real life, if you go and like say if somebody joined the army and then went through that now, like they're gonna be put in priority because they're gonna be protected because they're gonna be the person that brings somebody back that should have died. Like they're kind of going to be idolized out there. They're going to be the ones being protected.
Well, this is
back in
World War
back
II,
in that time frame.
and they're like, you're going to get shot in the head,
and
then you're going to get your whole platoon killed because you won't pick up a gun.
Yeah.
And that was.
But then he wound up saving his whole platoon.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell a dude that was if I was walking next to you and we were going into war and you weren't holding a gun, I'd say, get the fuck over there. I want the dude standing next to me with the gun. You stand over there with that medic dude, and you guys hang out. I don't give a fuck what you do. All right?
Yeah.
Stand next to the dude playing the drum and the guy with the flag. You guys are all going down in a fucking line.
But, yeah, I'm just very, I don't know, I'm hit or miss with our military and war movies. They're just...
I like parts of them. Like every time I think back to Saving Private Ryan, it's always one part, and it's when they first get blown up, and everyone's shell shocked, and then one dude's walking around holding his arm.
Yeah.
And that's the part that I feel that everyone thinks of when they look back.
I'm pretty sure everyone's seen that part, and they haven't even seen the movie.
Right.
Like they reference
that's
it
the
in
best
Sausage Party.
Part. Yeah.
They reference it in everything.
That's like the best part of any war movie I've ever seen because it actually makes you feel like this is what happened, because it is. They got blown up and you can't hear nothing because you just
Nobody
got blown the
knows
fuck up.
going on.
And no one, you're all discombobbled, you lose your arm, you can't feel it because of adrenaline. That's what really happens.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was...
I can just imagine like Jeff being out on the field and be like, we gotta find it!
We gotta find my arm! We gotta find my... Oh my god, what the fuck did we watch? Oh, we watched Chips, which is not that great of a movie, but it was funny. But someone gets their fingers blown off, right? So he gets his fingers blown off, and the dude runs out for his fingers and grabs his 2 fingers and comes back, but 3 get blown off. And he's like, my 3rd finger! He's like, well, you're fucked, dude. And he's like, my pinky! Like, and it was just so funny, like, that moment of his fingers getting blown off. And the dude's like, the one dude's been hurt so many times, and he has a bullet hole in his arm, and he's like, does that hurt? And he's like, yeah, about a 2. And he's like, does that hurt? To his finger, he's like, ah! It's pretty funny, dude. It was entertaining.
That actually reminds me of that one scene in The Preacher when he's up in his fucking bell tower and he's keeping all the main bad guys crew. He's like trying to keep them away from the church.
His dick is shot off. Yeah, he shot my dick off. He's
like,
a good shot.
They're like, oh, we'll just storm the building. And then the dude's just like wandering back like, oh, you made it back alive. And he's just like holding something in his hands like,
what's going on?
What's in your hands? He's like, shot my dick off.
The preacher shot my dick off. What? He's a pretty good shot.
Like,
shot it clean
I feel
off.
alright now, but like that's probably just the adrenaline.
It shot it clean off. And then later he's like laying on the cart like,
yeah. Pain all finally came back.
But dude, I laughed so hard at that. Preacher shot my dick off. Like, but I guess you get that. You know, you're in adrenaline. If my dick got shot off, I would just shoot myself in the face there. I'd be like, yeah. I'd be like, or you could have like the Lorraine Bobbitt case. Or the boyfriend, who I don't know his name because no one remembers the boyfriend that gets his dick cut off. She cut his dick off, threw it out the window. You know what I mean? They find it, reattach it. He shoots a porn. You know
I
what
heard
I mean?
It was kind of off.
I'm sure it didn't look that great. I'm sure it looked mangled as hell. Have you watched it? I haven't. I'm interested now. I'm going to watch that porn.
What I've heard is that it looks a little to the side. Like, they turned it from level 8 to level 9.
This is like in the early 90s. We didn't have the plastic surgery we have today. I'm surprised they even attached it. They're like, oh, well, your finger got cut off too, so we put the finger where the dick is and the dick where the finger.
You pee out of your finger now. That's something you're going to have to get used to.
Like, what was that Scary Movie 3? The aliens peed out their finger, and then he puts it in his mouth.
I don't know why he would let him do that to begin with, but whatever.
Oh, that's funny. Well, yeah, shooting dicks off.
And, what else we gonna talk about today? I mean, we got Destiny 2 beta dropping next week.
Yeah, which I still have to pre-order because...
I think I'm the only one that pre-ordered it. I'm the only one that pre-ordered it.
Yeah, I got a pre-order.
I'm not gonna. If I don't like the demo, I really like the first Destiny demo. Yeah. Even though I grinded the same fucking level just to get to level 8 to lose everything.
Well,
I mean,
you know what this one consists of, right?
Yes.
Well, for those that don't know, it is one strike, which means it's one playable mission. We get access to one PvP mode, which is the new one called Countdown, which is basically Seek and Destroy, which is a game mode where you a team is defending a bomb and the other team has to detonate it. And if the defending team is able to kill all 4 attackers at the same time, they win the round. If the attacking team gets the bomb off, they win the round. And it's kind of like tennis. It's like best of 5 or something like that.
Right. That seems like it would be cool though for a debut, I guess.
It's 4v4. So,
I mean, I'm definitely going to pre-order, but I'm not going to pre-order through, like, Xbox or anything right now just because I don't want to spend the full amount to pre-order it. Because, I mean, the beta's going to be the killer just because I don't feel like they spent enough time on Destiny 2. They put so much time in putting DLC out while developing Destiny 2. And a lot of games, as you guys know, that have done that, they've crashed and fell pretty hard.
Yeah, I'm just...
I have higher hopes for Destiny's story mode this time around.
Never play anything else.
I don't care, but I'm just saying that they learned from... I hope that they learned from their mistake last time. I've seen a lot of videos and just pictures of like they actually have an overworld map now, not the solar map that they used to have, but like you go to a place, you can pull your map up, and it's like, hey, you have stuff here and here that you can do.
Okay.
You can go do those if you choose.
That's cool.
They have
Instead of having to go to each section and then
they have
doing
things
it that way.
that are like adventures where you can opt in to go do this, almost like a public event. But like you can go do these if they're available.
That's cool.
And so like while we're doing other things, like we can kind of go off the beaten path and do something else real quick, get some good loot, and then finish what we're doing. So like the story mode is looking way more breathed out, but I mean we'll see when it happens.
I just hope it's longer. It took me like one
I
full
have a
day of
feeling it
sitting
will.
down to beat it, but
it didn't take me very long. I was playing short intervals with Jeff, and we beat it in like no time.
Yeah. But see, that's like my thing. That's why I play games that take so long. You're supposed to invest so much time in, just because I'll sit down and play a game and beat it in a day, and then go right to multiplayer. As to where like you guys see me all the time playing Dark Souls right now.
Yeah.
If you're not good at that game, it takes a really long time, but I've beaten it 5 times, but like I'm better, but it still took me a little bit to beat it just because enemies get harder and everything, but that's why I play the games and stuff that take a long time. Just because I don't want to get bored and go right to multiplayer.
I think that what they're going to do this time around, from what I've seen, is that they're going to basically do what they did in Taken King, was like you go to a planet, you do like a good 10 or so missions on there, and you've basically done that planet, but you can go back, and then there's going to be a whole new subset of things you can do there.
That's cool.
Which I'm pretty sure that's what the approach is, or at least that's what I've been led to believe. But I mean, yeah, I want this game to be good, because the last one had me hooked for 3 years, and
I had a lot of fun. I came in it late, and I had a lot of fun.
You got like a good 8 months out of it.
Yeah. And I was on and off.
Yeah. I mean, we all had fun with the game. It's like I said, the only reason I stopped playing Destiny is because I found out you can't carry anything over to Destiny.
Right.
And that's why I stopped also.
There's absolutely no reason to play now.
I feel like we'll probably get a good 3 years out of this one too, which I'm perfectly fine with, because I can basically like, okay, for 3 years I can have stuff to chase, and then once that's winded down, they'll be gearing up for the next one.
All right.
See, I don't know if you guys would feel the same way. I feel like it would be more entertaining and everything, like just to make a better game, if like they just added new weapons and stuff into it more, instead of just going and putting one set of weapons in at one time, or even like a thing where you do a challenge. You do challenges throughout the mission, and then you can get like exclusive like.
So kind of
stuff,
like
you get
bonus objectives. Like if you do this will boost your reward.
Cool.
You can either get like a new specific assault rifle or something, or a specific helmet, instead of having the stupid golden keys that we had to get, and then hope that we just got that helmet from killing.
Well, they're getting rid of random rolls.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Each gun will be itself. The only variation you can cause is a weapon mod, which we aren't really like. They haven't told us exactly how they work.
That means more than ever we're just going to see the same gun in PvP.
Unless they nerf it or change a perk.
Yeah, but then if they do that, then they're going to just think of how many more weapons they're going to have. Because you had the same weapon skins, the same weapon names, that just had the different roles. Now they're going to keep the weapons the same.
They're going to put more,
they're going to add
more weapons in general.
Yeah. So like you'd be killed by an archetype and not just this name.
Right, and I'm sure they'll be smart enough to put a couple of, at least like 10 guns in the same level of badassness. You know
Probably.
What I mean?
But didn't they also try that in Destiny the first year, where they had the weapons that did the specific perks and everything, and then they wound
everything
up
was always random. The only thing that was like set, so to
exotics.
Speak. Exotics were set to counteract their innate perks that they have, so that it was a little more balanced. But I was gonna say like the only other thing was like Iron Banner weapons. You get access to this weapon for only this week, but it will only have this role.
And
then like further on down the line, they introduced more.
The different roles kind of annoy me because you're like, oh, cool, oh, no, trash.
Like,
what's, oh, cool, oh, no, trash. Oh, what's it, you know what I mean?
It's even worse, though, when the other guy on the other team, like, he has the perfect role,
right,
and you can't even, like, go
That would
near
be
him.
me. How many times did I get perfect rolls
Dude,
every time I
the
go
one
in there?
time his friend lost his shit, I got a clever dragon with almost a perfect roll, not a perfect roll, but almost, and he was like, he doesn't even know what the fuck he has.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Was that, I think that was
that
me.
was you?
I think that was me. He doesn't even know what he has.
Yeah, and I was like, dude, I'm sorry, I wasn't
see,
paying
that's my
attention
thing,
because
like,
I didn't pay attention to rolls that much. I knew what was good for certain classes, but I couldn't identify a perfect roll right away.
Yeah,
you know
but
what I mean?
and that's
That's
my
why
thing.
that's why everyone just asks Jeff.
And he will
I'm
sit here
basically
and
a
yell
curator.
At me. He'll sit here and yell at me because I don't upgrade my armors. I won't upgrade my
Oh yeah,
weapons.
he's like, you got upgrades.
I give
I'm like,
everyone,
shut the fuck up.
I give
dude.
everyone
Leave me
grief.
alone.
Like, I'm level 400.
Here's a
I don't
reminder.
need the upgrade.
Your slot is filled with XP, but all you have to do is press a button to turn it on. Can you just please do that for
Like,
me?
shut
Like,
up.
no, Jack. No. I went, what, 3 months without upgrading my helmet, and it bugged you every single day you inspected my character?
He talked about.
I just stopped doing it after a
He
while.
talked
I
about
just
my
didn't
chest
wanna look
piece
at
like
it.
every day. He's like, so when you gonna upgrade that? Shut up, Jeff.
I kind of hope that they start. Have you guys ever seen the fan-made exotics?
I've seen.
No, I haven't seen any.
I've seen a lot of them.
There's some that look pretty badass, and there's
That'd be
like
cool.
certain
I don't
things that they
like
add.
a
I feel like they
majority
could
of
do that.
them because
That'd be
they are
badass.
Frankenstein monsters. They are pieces of all the existing guns. They are
That'd be
very,
badass if they
very
snuck a
rare for
couple
them
in
to
there or
have.
something.
Very rare for them to have unique pieces that aren't just reskins from other weapons.
Yeah,
and that's
or
why
even,
I don't particularly
or even
them.
like exotic sets. Like instead of having like the Galahorn,
oh yeah, I
you
like
have
that.
the Galahorn assault rifle that has the same skin. Like you have.
I
one
like it when
weapon.
it's like that.
That would be that would make everything so much
when
better.
it's when it looks like within the same family. Like the they have a Titan helmet that it's the what is it? It's like the Immortal Soldier or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's like a statue face and it has the
Okay.
wings down here.
Yeah.
Those match the Ruin Wing arms, and they also match the stand aside legs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I like those when they look like they're all part of one main piece.
Yeah. That's
And
right.
I want those little details too, like you were saying with the wings. Like if you paired that up, like just to say Galahorn is a part of that.
Yeah.
If you paired that up and you have that full set, it looks like a complete set. As to where me and you play as the hunter.
Yeah.
I can't get away from Bog Wild. I look like I'm running around with a retarded peacock on my forehead. Or the ball pants. Who knows why we got to put golf balls on my knees. But like
The infamous ball pants.
Yeah,
I love
ball
those
pants.
pants just because
The
they give
ball
you so
pants.
much pain.
I feel like they need to make more sets and add
Yeah.
that detail into
Yeah,
it
they
to
do.
make it a set instead of like just a reskin they change the colors on.
Well, you
But
won't
I
get
swear to
that
God,
until you
if
get
they-
people that really care and stop just trying to crank
I
this
swear to
game
God,
out,
if they
you
add
know?
Bog Wild into the Destiny 2, I'm done. I'm not even going to buy it.
all the
I won't.
armors I've seen seem pretty new and unique. They don't
Yeah.
look like anything else.
Yeah,
we've
I haven't seen many, but
As
I've
soon
seen
as I
some.
see Bog Wild, Xbox is going out the window.
I've seen there's like the main image for like the game. It has a Titan on the cover. It looks like he has like Suros armor,
Okay.
which that looks okay. That's familiar in that like I see their logo. It's shiny white and red plastic.
Yeah.
Right.
Like
It's what
that's fine.
it's what it's supposed to
Yeah,
be.
it's what it's supposed to be. It's not like, oh, well, here's like the original Vanguard armor, just 5 different colors on top of it
Right,
instead.
Yeah.
Or even like weapon and armor like customization with like the camos and stuff. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Alright, so we have touched on we touched on like just 2 main topics.
Yeah, it was mainly Spider-Man and Destiny 2.
Yeah.
But there was some in between there, some whatever.
Yeah. And yep, this we got to hang out with Brandon, and I think he did all right.
Yeah, I mean it was cool.
It was good to get a different view on things.
Yeah, he might not be in every show, but he's gonna try to make it for everyone he can.
I'm saying if I'm not involved in the podcast directly, like
You
we'll
might
we'll
see him in
find
other
something
areas,
like
yeah.
because I'm gonna start doing we're talking about doing streaming everything through Twitch and YouTube and even through Beam on the new consoles. So we'll let you guys know through the Facebook and everything about when that's going to happen. So I might not be involved with the podcast themselves, but I'll be involved with like the streaming and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's cool to have you out for Spider-Man.
Yeah. Podcast
Spider-Man
number
podcast.
6,
Yeah.
and the Spider-Man movie.
And I guess take it easy, guys, and we'll see you on the flip side.
All right. Bye-bye.